Um, okay, so I wanted to ask about your sort of expectations for the man before you're even willing to say yes to the date, just maybe by their profile. And I was kind of looking into this a little bit before our conversation, and I don't know if you two feel like this, but one thing that kept coming up was that people sort of have pretty high standards. Like you mentioned, they've got to be tall. And so I'm 6 foot even, and I
Yeah.
googled, and I don't know how good of a resource this is, but it said like 14.5% of all men are 6 foot taller or higher. So everyone else would be shorter, and then it said 3.9% are 6'2" or higher.
Okay.
And then I was looking up like average salaries, which is apparently 52,000. So like if you make more than like 70, 80,000 and you're 6 foot tall, you're like and super in the minority.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I feel like and then what I was kind of finding on just this short research that I did was that a lot of women are really wanting like a quality guy, but those guys are harder to find. And then another thing I saw was like they were thinking that I guess there's sort of this phenomenon on dating apps where like men are just like swiping right on every woman.
Oh.
And like, well, I don't know. I think they just not like on a lot of women they're doing that, but women, I guess statistically, are swiping left a lot of the time.
Mhm.
But the ones they swipe right on are like the tall, really good looking man. And like all the women are swiping right on that man, but they're swiping most of the time left. And so it kind of creates this situation where if you are one of those men, then you really get a lot of options, but most men are getting like no options at all.
I
And
have heard
so,
that before.
And those
yeah.
most men are for the streets, let me tell you. Okay.
Oh,
So I'm like, I definitely with the whole appearance thing, it's like I mean, at first I kind of was in that area when I first started dating, but then as I started dating, I'm like, there is really good quality men that don't fit that, description. Like, yeah, I mean, you want somebody who's taller, but for me, as long as they're taller than me, when I'm wearing heels maybe, and I'm only 5'3". So it's like I'm okay with that. Like I'm good. And you're not gonna really know until you're like, whatever you swipe and like you start talking to them. For me it's more about like the mentality and like what they're bringing like in that, area. I mean, the when I'm swiping, what I look at is their first picture and what they're showing me. You know what I mean? Like if they just show something like heck is stupid, I'm like, no. But if they show something like their face or they're confident, I'm gonna swipe on them. So for me, that's what it's about when I'm swiping. Like, whatever, if I'm on the dating app and I'm swiping, I look at that very first picture. Like, what are you showing me? Like, what's the first thing that you're showing me?
I have found that guys take really bad pictures.
They do.
They really do. Like 9 times out of 10,
like detectives.
Yeah, they look way better in person.
I mean,
I'm thinking, why did you post that picture? I mean, it's a horrible angle. They're not smiling or they're trying to be buff. It's just it's funny.
Yeah, man.
That's
do
good.
like to impress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like that a lot of times or some of the time they're better than their pictures, and they're just kind of not good at posting good pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's what you're looking for too, right? So obviously if you're looking for something a little bit more serious and committed, like Justina said, she's going to look for those qualities like confidence,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe comfortable in their skin, which would be confident. But maybe if you're looking for something for right now, it would be more looks. It would be more aesthetics. So that kind of leads to a good point. So what I found, and again, everything I'm saying is going to be my personal experience or my opinion, but when I go on a date, I don't want to feel like I'm in an interview. I don't want you to sit here and ask about my hopes and my dreams and my goals. I don't want that. Like, I want it to flow organically. I want to laugh and have a great time and have some great food. And if I can just sit at a table with you in a room and just enjoy each other's company, then that's a green light for me, because all of those other things will come later, right? So I think, you know, sometimes I think people get caught up in, you know, let's talk about you, you know, what are your hopes and dreams? Where are you going in life? And what are you doing? And those things are important, but I don't want to feel like pressured when I'm on a date. I don't want to feel like I have to have this script of the things that I'm going to say, because people are going to sell themselves, right? Especially in the first couple of weeks or whatever, they're going to put on their best face. So that's kind of what I look for. But I think everyone's different.
For sure, for sure. Because I'm definitely opposite. I'm okay with people asking me like questions, and I mean, I'll answer them. But I'm definitely looking for like what they're telling me. And honestly, the last few days I've been on, I'm just letting the guy talk to me. Like if he asks me questions, yeah, I'm
That's
gonna answer
smart.
it. But I want to see what he's bringing. I want to see his insight on things. So I'm kind of just sitting back chilling. And then like they'll ask me things and I'll answer, and they're just kind of looking at me, and I'm just looking at them like, okay, we're good, you know, because I want to hear what they're saying. Like I know what I can bring, but I want to know what they can bring. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what I do when I'm dating now. Like recently, maybe the last maybe a couple months or so, just because I'm like, I don't want to get to know this person and ask these questions and then me like them more than they like me, and then it just doesn't work out, and then I'm disappointed because I'm a female and I'm emotional, you know. So I'm just like, no, no. So we'll see what
Justina's
happens.
really good at asking questions like that and kind of getting to the core of people and what they want. So I really appreciate that about her. She's really good at that. Even as a friend, she'll, you know, ask me things that kind of make me think like, oh man, you know, I really got to put some thought into that. So she's good at that.
My brain
What
definitely be pondering things. I'm like,
Yeah. And
are you?
I think it's good that, Justina, that you listen and you let them talk, because people will show you who they are
yeah.
real
Yeah.
quick. You know, you just let them
I
just
know within like the first date, like I'll know if I'm really interested in you, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go on the second date. The second date, I know for sure. I'm like, oh no. I'm like,
silence is
oh, okay, yeah.
powerful. Silence
Like,
is powerful, you know, in that moment of silence and you're just not saying anything, you know, what is their next word? What is their next step? What are
mhm.
they going to bring to the table? That's interesting.
Because I find that when you're on a date, like they are trying to bring their best foot forward, you know, that like they're really trying to impress you, and
Yes.
so I'll just let them talk. I'm just like, okay, like yeah, you got that, okay. Oh, you make this man, okay, that's great.
And you didn't even ask.
No, no, they
Yeah.
really,